Starting from right to left, the colorants I'm using are titanium dioxide, ruby red mica, tangerine mica, magic yellow mica, apple martini mica, blue kamikaze mica, and cosmo martini mica. All micas shown here were purchased from the conservatory. My lye water solution and oils are both at about 76 degrees Fahrenheit or 24.4 degrees Celsius. It's the perfect time to get started. The recipe I'm using is a quadruple butter recipe with olive oil, coconut oil, palm oil, castor oil, cocoa butter, shea butter, mango butter, and avocado butter. I'm doing a layered rainbow design with white soap piped on top and heart embeds. There will definitely be lots and lots of glitter to follow. I'd like to think that I'm not someone who often makes politically charged statements. My friends and family might tell you that's a bold-faced lie, but I wanted to create a soap inspired by the recent Obergefell v. Hodges Supreme Court ruling. Marriage is something that most people don't really think about. For example, I married my husband in December of 2014. I pored over ceremony sites, reception locations, officiant options, dress styles, bridal party colors, wedding invitations, flower choices, cake design, etc. I even had crazy dreams about the only ceremony site location left being a shack in the middle of a turbulent pond in the middle of the Phoenix Zoo. Or about getting dressed to walk down the aisle and realizing that my wedding dress was covered in fruit, my veil was the size of a matchbox, and I had Kleenex boxes on my feet for shoes. In all the insanity of planning a wedding, the focus was on the romantic aspects of it all. Do you take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband, to have and to hold, to love and to cherish, in sickness and in health, till death do you part, for as long as you both should live? And it was on a beautiful December day in the heart of downtown Phoenix, in a tranquil and gorgeous Japanese garden, in front of waterfalls, a reflecting koi pond, and my closest friends and family that I said I do to the man that I love. It was beautiful and it was deeply meaningful. But a wedding is something you plan. It's the event. It's the part that we think about when we hear the word marriage. So while I stood choking back tears and said my I do's, I was thinking about he and I together forever. I wasn't thinking about the 1,138 benefits, rights, and protections granted to me under the law. I wasn't thinking about the legal union, which is a marriage. Being lawfully wedded entitles married couples to death benefits, family leave benefits, hospital visitations, next of kin designations, medical coverage without paying extra taxes on the coverage, housing benefits, immigration issues regarding residency and family unification benefits, inheritance benefits, insurance benefits, portability of marriage status. For example, if my husband and I moved from Arizona to another state, we would not lose our married status. Joint parenting benefits, the privilege of being protected against having to testify against the other in judicial proceedings, property distribution benefits, and joint tax return benefits, to name a few. When I said my vows, I was not thinking about the privileges I'd have if something terrible were to befall my husband. I wasn't thinking of the fact that it would be less difficult for my husband to make medical decisions on my behalf if I were terminally ill and incapacitated. Legally, our marriage would grant us those benefits, rights, protections for the good times and the sad times. Jim Obergefell and John Arthur were together for 21 years, married only for a few months before John Arthur passed away due to complications from ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. They married in Maryland in 2013, but lived in Ohio, a state that voted to uphold same-sex marriage bans. Before he died, John Arthur wanted his husband to be listed on his death certificate. On July 19, 2013, they filed a lawsuit stating that the state of Ohio discriminates against same-sex couples who were married lawfully out of state. John Arthur wanted the Ohio registrar to identify his husband, James Obergefell, as his surviving spouse on his death certificate, based on their marriage. The local Ohio registrar agreed that discriminating against the same-sex married couple was unconstitutional, but the state attorney general's office announced plans to defend Ohio's same-sex marriage ban. Fast forward to June 26, 2015. The Supreme Court held in a 5-4 decision that the 14th Amendment requires all states to grant same-sex marriages and recognize same-sex marriages granted in other states. Justice Kennedy, writing for the majority opinion, stated, "No union is more profound than marriage, for it embodies the highest ideals of love, fidelity, devotion, sacrifice, and family. In forming a marital union, two people become something greater than they once were. As some of the petitioners in these cases demonstrate, marriage embodies a love that may endure even past death. It would misunderstand these men and women to say they disrespect the idea of marriage. Their plea is that they do respect it so deeply that they seek to find its fulfillment for themselves. Their hope is not to be condemned to live in loneliness, excluded from one of civilization's oldest institutions. They ask for equal dignity in the eyes of the law. The Constitution grants them that right." I made this soap named Equality as my own small celebration of the landmark Supreme Court decision, and as a celebration of all marriages and the relationships, benefits, rights, and protections they envelop. I suppose there'd be no purpose in being a soap maker hobbyist if I couldn't get up on my soapbox every great once in a while. I'd love to hear your stories about your own weddings, marriages, and all the wonderful, crazy things they entail. I'll be sure to include pictures of my own ceremony too at the end. This particular soap took a while to finally unmold. The fragrance oil is known to slow things down, but it took a lot of effort for me to be patient and not force it out of the mold. Almost all of my soaps are ready to go within 24 hours, but this particular soap took 3 times as long. I really loved the way the soap turned out. I wanted a rustic rainbow sort of look, so the fact that the lines of color aren't perfectly even made me really pleased with the result. While I was deciding what to do with this soap, I knew I wanted an embed for the top, but I wasn't sure if I wanted a sphere or a star, and then I realized that the only embed I'd be pleased with was a heart shape, because the theme of the soap revolves around love. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a like and feel free to subscribe. I'd love to hear fun stories from your own wedding or inspirational ideas as to what you want your wedding to be like. My sister got married at a resort in Scottsdale, and in the middle of her vows, a pug raced away from its owner and ran around my sister and her husband while they were trying to focus on saying their I do's. My aunt eventually chased down the dog and returned it to its owner, so the ceremony could proceed. It was one of those oh no moments that turned into a really fond memory of the day. This is Sabrina from Eden and Ivy Artisan Handmade Soap. After such a long break, I have a lot of soaping videos in the works. Until next time, happy soaping everybody!